I'm super excited. It is listed for $379. If I do not like it, I'm going to be honest and I'm going to tell you. I am pretty highly impressed. And that's one thing that Cricut is very good at, is they are very good at getting those little details right. Oh my goodness, guys, I'm so excited. Today is the day I have to bring you in here and show you what just arrived. Y'all, the Cricut AutoPress 2. We just got this bad boy in, so let's go ahead and unbox this and see what it's all about. Y'all, I am so excited about this new heat press. If you've been here on the Makers Gonna Learn channel, you know we have been on a heat press journey the last little bit. We've ordered some other heat presses from other places. They've been okay. So I'm super excited to get this one in the mail and go ahead and open it up. Now, let's go ahead and talk about this, the AutoPress 2. So when Cricut first released their AutoPress, the very first one, that thing was over $1,000. And if you want my honest opinion, I think that it was a little bit, I say a little bit, I think it was pretty overpriced for what you were getting. They have since come down on those prices, but this is, I guess, their more economical version. This is the Heat Press 2. It is currently only being sold on Amazon. We have that link down below. I guess you'll have to stay till the end of the video to see if we like it or not. But currently on Amazon, it is listed for $379, which is not a bad price for a 15 by 15 heat press. Now, another thing that I want to be abundantly clear on, we are not sponsored by Cricut at all. And this is my very first genuine reaction to this machine. Now, I do have some things here on the table that we are going to be pressing with this machine. So this is not just gonna be a unbox it and let me tell you my thoughts on what it looks like video. We are gonna be going through the whole process. I have something with sublimation, I have some heat transfer vinyl, and I have some puff vinyl that we are going to put on some of these blanks because I do wanna test it to truly give you my honest opinion by the end of this video. So with that being said, once again, we are not sponsored by Cricut, so if I end up liking this, this is just going to be genuinely something that I like. If I do not like it, I'm going to be honest and I'm going to tell you everything that I see starting out. Now, another thing that I want to make clear is I do feel like you have to give heat presses a couple tries to know if you're really gonna like it or really not gonna like it, because at first when we got our clamshell heat press from Heat Press Nation, there were so many things that we loved about it. But the more that we used it, there were things that were just a little bit off with it, so it ended up not being 100% our favorite. So I'm gonna give you my genuine reaction after opening it and then after pressing 3 different blanks, okay? So let's go ahead and dive right into it. Okay, so one thing I will say, I did bring this inside from the car. So it is a fairly substantial weight, which obviously it's a heat press, y'all. It's gonna be. So opening up the box first, these are just packing pieces of cardboard. Let's get those out of the way. We have our little manual. We're gonna lay that to the side. I see something over here that has a Cricut. It has a Cricut sticker on it, but I'm not sure what this is. Let's get this open. Okay, so this is what we use to like adjust the time and the temperature, I'm assuming. We'll go ahead and get this out. Yes, this is the thing that you plug in to adjust the time and the temperature. Not really sure how I feel about this yet with a cord and not being like actual buttons on the machine, but I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying this is my first thing what I'm seeing. Now, I'm not gonna be able to lift this out of the box. I'm gonna have to put this on the ground and then I will lift it up onto the table. Okay. I feel like if Tanner was opening this, he'd be like, ah, ah, screaming. But y'all, I love him. I just don't have that kind of reaction. So far, ooh, that was a me problem. My first thoughts is what an interesting design. I don't hate it. I don't know if I really love it. But once again, I don't think it's necessarily, when it comes to products like this, it's less about the way that it looks for me and more about the way that it works, okay? So here's the machine and what it looks like from the front and from the sides. So I'm assuming this mechanism pulls up here and then closes down. Now, I think this bottom piece slides out as well, but we need to plug it up so that it can open up. And I think with almost all Cricut, like the new Cricut heat presses, mini easy press, things like that, I think you have to download the Cricut Heat app, but don't quote me on that just yet. Okay, so I've got this bad boy plugged up. Aha, I bet we have to plug this in to turn it on. Huh. Once again, I'm not knocking it, but it is interesting. Okay, so you do have to plug this thing in to get it to turn on. There is no button on this heat press. Now, currently, I'm gonna turn it down to 210. 15, what? Oh, these are different heat settings. Okay. And then you change here. Okay. And then you can change the pressure. This was something that I was very concerned about, especially with it being an AutoPress, is that you were not going to be able to change the pressure and how much you wanted this to press. Okay, so you can change the pressure. So it goes all the way down to 45 pounds of pressure at the lowest end to 220 pounds of pressure on the high end. This is honestly great for people who are like sublimating. This would be great to know the pressure. So here is where you do your time, your temperature, your time, and your pressure. So you press this button. So the first one is temperature. Let me bring you closer so that you can see this. So the first one is temperature. You can up and down the temperature. Then you press this and you can see that this starts flashing, and then you go up and down with the time, and then you press it again and you do your pressure. Also, I love how this is not a screen and it is matte, so that when it is turned off, it's just there. Y'all, that, thumbs up on that. I love that. So we're gonna turn this back on. Now this over here, these are different settings that you can make. So you can see how the temperature and everything changes. These are different settings. So you can have your favorite settings and just do this and then press play and this thing closes. Now, okay, so if you want it to be done again, you press this button again. Honestly, I like that. I like that a lot. However, I do want to look at other features. So I'm going to set you up right here. Now this is supposed to, ooh, I love how far that this drawer slides out. So let me bring you back here so that you can see this. Now this clearance here is very small, but this is a drawer that pulls back, but look how far that this thing pulls back. Like, I can lay my hand all the way back here and I don't feel like I'm getting anywhere close necessarily to that press. So I do like this. Now this part is removable. I definitely think you need this on here. Ooh, I like how this side, it's like the bottom of grippy socks. Like this is like the bottom of the grippy socks and it doesn't move much at all. That's a really, really good design. I like that a whole lot. But honestly, let's be real. The design of machines and the functionality of Cricut's machines are typically pretty top-notch, in my opinion. Okay, so now I want to take a look at the user's manual and kind of see some of the specs. So it says that it has preset. There are 4 preset selections already loaded onto your machine. The first one is 270 degrees Fahrenheit for 10 seconds at 165 pounds, which is for puff iron-on. They have a selection for iron-on. They have a selection for DTF, and they have a selection for infusible ink, which is the same as sublimation. So I do love that about it. It has already presets loaded on there. And you don't necessarily have to set them, but you can go and set your own. Now it shows you how to power on and how to operate. It does feel like it's getting hot pretty fast. I will say this part up here is not, but there is a spot kind of halfway down that I do feel like it starts to get hot, but this part up here is not necessarily hot yet. Okay, tells you how to operate. I think we kind of can figure that out. I wanted to see if it says how thick, because, also this thing altogether is 42 pounds. So it's a pretty hefty boy. It said on the box, on the front of the box actually, I read it, but I was trying to see if it said it somewhere in here. But on the box, it says that it can press up to 1.8 inches thick, which in my opinion is fairly thick for an AutoPress. So just for reference, this I would consider, this is 1.8, up to my thumb is gonna be 1.8 inches thick. Like that's pretty thick for something that you're gonna put in a heat press. So those are pretty much the specs. There's not much more in the user's manual. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. The rest of it is in different languages. So if you are ready, let's go ahead and see what it tells us. We will start with just regular heat transfer vinyl. So this will be iron-on, except we're changing it up a little bit. So actually, we're gonna go backwards. Since I had turned this on and it had been heating up, we were already almost to 400 degrees. So if we start out with the iron-on, we're gonna have to bring it down quite a bit and go back and forth. Okay, so we're gonna press onto these whiteboards. Now these whiteboards we got from Heat Press Nation. We have done this project before. So what I'm doing is I'm just cutting this out, and I'm cutting my registration marks because we did use our Cricut to print this design. So I'm just cutting out my design here, and then I'm going to grab some heat tape and I'm going to tape this down in a minute. Now, I will say when it comes to sublimation, yes, Cricut gives you your presets with this heat press, but you definitely need to be looking at the settings for the specific blank that you are putting it on. So this blank did call for a heat of 400, but it called for a higher time. So I'm gonna come back here to my little device. I'm going to click on this. I'm going to leave the temperature where it's at and go down to the time. And we're gonna change it. It said for 80 to 90 seconds, so I'm gonna go 85. And then it said medium pressure, but I'm still gonna keep it on that 220 just because I'm curious to see what that 220 pressure is. So here is this. I grabbed my heat tape here. And I'm just gonna go ahead and get me some. Okay, so now that I have this taped down, I am going to come back over here and I'll show you guys from that side. So we're gonna bring this right here. So now that I have this taped down, I'm going to pull out my tray here. I'm going to bring this back up here. Now I do probably need to go grab some butcher's paper, so please hold. Now I've got some butcher's paper covering that. I'm going to slide that back in, and now all I have to do is press this one. Okay, and it's pressing. And now we wait. Now, while we are waiting, I did go grab me some heat-resistant gloves because those are gonna be very important, especially with pressing this at 400 degrees for like 85 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's see how it did. Oh, she's smoky. Okay, so I can tell it's sublimated because it's sublimated through that paper. let's look at our results. I'm going to grab me a weeding tool just to get some of this tape off. Oh, yes, that did so well. That is hot. Even through the heat gloves, y'all, that is still hot. But that zero ghosting from not having pressure all over, that looks crispy. Okay. So far, this is at least this sublimation, and I was looking at how thick this was. I gotta keep holding that down because that's kind of, so I mean, like, that's not a super thick, but also not just a thin garment. I think that ended up turning out really, really well. Okay. So far, Cricut, you're impressing me. So the next one we're going to do is going to be, and I'm going to shut this back. So we're going to do regular HTV on a canvas tote. Now, sometimes canvas is a little bit harder to get HTV to stick to, so we're going to go ahead and do that. Now, our presets say that if we go to number 2, it's iron-on cotton, 310 for 15 seconds at 220. So let's go to our preset. So we're on 4. 3, 2, 310, 15, 220. That's where we need to be. So now we're gonna have to let this thing cool down, and then once we are cooled down, we will come back to press our tote bag, and then we will do our puff vinyl, because our puff vinyl is even lower than our tote bag at 270 versus 310. Okay, so now that the heat press it is now only 310 degrees at 15 seconds. I am going to go ahead and press this tote bag. Now, I will say I did give it a pre-press, and y'all, that pre-press was so nice because I could fit that whole tote bag in there and just press this for a few seconds. And then, boom, done. Not the whole 15 seconds, but I hit this button again when I'm done. And it is just such a nice, even press. Highly impressed with that. So I'm gonna set this down. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to place my design here. Now I am gonna try to center it. So what I want to do is this is just a little trick of the trade. So I'm taking this, getting my ends, which the state of Tennessee is honestly a really hard thing to line up, because look how we have to try to get that as close as possible. And then I'm gonna find that midpoint there, you know, probably somewhere right there around Nashville. Anyway, I'm going to now place this down here on our tote bag, centering that. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to push it back, make sure it goes in there, and then I'm gonna come over here and now I did not put anything over top of that, but when it releases, it like takes that pressure back off. So here is our design on our tote bag. Pretty good, pretty good. I do feel like there were a couple places where it still wasn't maybe attached on, but I do think I'm gonna give this a second press really quick, but with a Teflon sheet over it, because one thing about canvas tote, woven canvas tote, is it is kind of hard for heat transfer vinyl to get down in the crevices. So I'm just placing, to protect my heat transfer vinyl, I'm placing a Teflon sheet over it, and then I'm just gonna do the same thing. Okay, why does it say error? Okay, what did I do? Okay. Interesting. I wonder if that had something to do with maybe these getting stuck back here and not allowing this to shut. But I was getting an error thing, and I had to kind of like push that drawer in pretty well. Now let's see what this looks like. Oh yeah, that is on there so much more than what it was. That looks good. Now it is still really warm, But that looks nice and crispy, y'all. I really like that. Okay, so now it is time to see how we do with puff vinyl. Now, for our presets, it is saying puff vinyl is 270 for 10 seconds at 165. So I'm gonna change it from 2 to 1. 270, 10 seconds, 165. Okay, so we're going to let this cool down to 270, and then we will be right back to press our puff vinyl on our t-shirt. Okay, now we are cooled down to 270. We have it set for 10 seconds for 165. At 165 pressure, we're going to press this mama onto this cotton shirt. So let's go ahead and get this set up on our heat press. So I'm gonna pull this out. I'm gonna go ahead and lay my shirt down. Now this is a fairly large shirt. It is a 2X, so it does overhang just a little bit more than normal. And now from here, I'm going to once again find the center of my design there. Beautiful. Let's do that. Then we'll come over here to the center of our shirt. Let's actually give this one a pre-press as well. Nice little pre-press. Then we're gonna lay this down here on the center like this, and we're gonna see how well this thing does puff vinyl. So placing it back in there, coming over here, 10 seconds. Now I did not put a Teflon sheet or anything over that. I just put it in there, and we'll see how it turns out. Wow, that did really well. Y'all, I'm gonna set you down and hold this up so that you all can see. Here is what it looks like. I'll get a little bit closer. That did really, really well on that puff vinyl. Wow. Okay, we are finished pressing 3 different things. This heat press, so far, I have to say, I am pretty highly impressed with everything that it did. I think they had great preset settings for things like sublimation, infusible ink, puff HTV, regular HTV. I pretty much used all of the preset settings except for on this one, I bumped the time up, but that's just because you all know with sublimation, it's very specific to which blank you use. But so far, I have to say, I'm very impressed. I love how you can pull this out. This bottom plate right here, of course, this heating mat, it is warm to the touch. This bottom piece here, not hot at all. Love that about it. I'm very impressed with how far this bottom plate pulls out. Also, extremely impressed with the back of this pressing mat having these little grippy things like a grippy sock. That, to me, is the little details that can make or break a heat press or any type of machine. And that's one thing that Cricut is very good at, is they are very good at getting those little details right. So I love that. I will say this plastic piece here did finally start heating up. So this top is kind of warm. You can touch it. You're not gonna wanna leave your hand on it, but you're not gonna get burnt completely if you touch this one. That was another one of my concerns, especially if you have children in the house, having this here and them not thinking, oh my gosh, I can't touch this. This part up here, not hot at all. And this guy right here, I'm going to say, I thought for sure that I was gonna hate this and that this was going to be probably the dumbest thing ever, because why wouldn't you just build it all in? But this right here, I think has blown me away more than anything. I love how you have your 4 presets that you can go ahead and choose from. So you got puff vinyl, iron-on vinyl. Honestly, I don't remember what the other one was. And then infusible ink was your last one and your hottest one. Bring that back down to puff vinyl. But the fact that you can also manually choose everything here, I love how you press the buttons to get it to come up and down. I really like the dial. It just makes it a lot easier. And y'all, there's no incessant beeping. That was the one thing about that StarCraft heat press. If there was one critique, it was that beep and trying to change the heat. Did not like that. I also love that they have you can change your pressure on this. So far, I think this bad boy may be the one that we go with. Stick around. Make sure you follow us here on the Makers Gonna Learn channel if you haven't already. If you have enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to our channel, because you all know the more that you use a product, the better sense you get from it, and the more you can determine, yes, I am sold, or no, I am not. But so far, after 3 presses, I'm gonna have to say I'm pretty sold. Now, I feel like there are going to be projects that come up where I may have an issue with this being an AutoPress, with it not having the, like, I can't adjust things, I don't know. But so far, I am thoroughly enjoying it. And y'all, for the price that they have at $379, I just don't know if there's anything else right now that can beat it. Like I said, we got our Heat Press Nation clamshell, and at first we really liked it, but there are just little things about it that end up not working. We won't go into any more details. It's still a great press. There are just little detail things that this press, I don't think I'm gonna have an issue with. So if you have enjoyed this, once again, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to our channel, and hit that bell notification so that you can be notified every single time we get crafty. I cannot wait to hear what you all have to say. If you have a Cricut AutoPress 2, pop off in the comments what your thoughts are. Do you like it so far? I am going to give this one, I think I'm gonna give it the thumbs up of approval so far. So thank you guys again so much for being here. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.